Good to see you, Josh.
Doing all right?
I walked out of the gym behind you the other day. I was over at UNCG. I said, Josh and I both walking out here together. As we walk out of there, you know, both of us, probably people aren't looking at us at all.
All right.
Just completely nondescript the way we walk out of there because we're both smaller. So,
exactly.
But the only thing, you had the blue sweater on.
Right, exactly.
Blue sweater that day. You and Henson both had the blue sweaters that day.
Correct. Yes, we try to match with all the coaches, and fortunately, we got other coaches had on brown that day, tan.
They had brown, yeah.
We had blue, so we had a little miscommunication. We got to do better.
I'm just thinking that. I'm telling you guys have got to keep working because you guys kind of JV coaches, maybe working their way toward varsity.
Exactly.
Are you helping on the JV team?
Yeah, I'm actually the head JV coach.
You got the job,
Some Coach Seagraves, asked me to come do, and I decided to help him out with that. And I also make the varsity games, so I do double duty.
I saw you at the varsity game. I saw that team over at Smith. I said, gosh, these guys have got 7 coaches on that bench.
A lot of people say that. See, I got more coaches than y'all do players, but we try to have a coach for every position.
You've got one older gentleman. I said, this guy looks like a different version of Skip McCall, that older gentleman. Who is he now?
Oh, Coach McCray.
He must be new.
He's from the Durham area, and he come down and help us out a lot. He's give the kids some experience and consult to them about they need someone to talk to and everything. So he's a great
doing
guy.
a good job for you guys.
Yes, sir. Yes,
how different is the Dudley program now from what it was back when you were there years ago? How is it different these days?
Well, I say we don't have as much size as we did back then. I know every time we walked out, we had someone 6'8", 6'7".
You had Kevin Swinton back in the day. You had Kenny Belton back in the day.
Will Graves.
Who was the other kid we had there, Dudley, at one time? I guess about the time, maybe right before them. He had the initials first name. Penix.
Oh,
I love getting names. Remember Mr. Penix back in the day?
Yeah, Brandon Penix.
I love it when I remember these names.
We call them Bigs. That's what we call them. Bigs.
He used to have that crazy little backpack. He got like peppermint patty or something in that backpack.
Oh, all the wild, crazy backpacks. Yellow, green, orange, everywhere he went.
He had those crazy backpacks. I'd get on the post game and saying, I don't understand. I'm not going to really ask him about this right now, Mr. Penix. He had those crazy backpacks, and this is unreal.
Yeah, he got a great personality, but when you get on the court, that's when that
he was serious business. There was a circle. There was a circle right there for the Dudley players in that middle back in the day. You didn't mess with that circle down low back in those days.
Oh, no, you couldn't get in the paint. That's what we tried to do, control the boards and control the paint.
Did you go back to Dudley because you just loved it so much back when you were there as a player? Is that what brought you back?
Loved it so much. I tried to make a lot of games when I wasn't coaching there, and just, it brings back memories from back when I played and even before I played. So
2 state championships for you?
2 state championships,
that's
3 state championships.
Nobody else can say. Nobody else can say that.
Exactly.
And you ran the show both of those.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what it was about back in the day. You ran the show. I don't remember it. If you had a backup, I'm not sure he might have been. I know Mr. Rayshawn Polk was a good player in that championship game in Chapel Hill that year.
Yeah,
Rayshawn had a big-time game. He had a big-time game that night, but you ran the show, no doubt about that.
He played shooting guard.
That championship game he had that night, I don't know all these memories come out. I'll never forget that night. He was hot that night, having a very good game.
I think he had maybe about 24, 25 points, and going on with Will Graves playing, and we needed that night for the winning state championship, so it helped out a lot.
A lot of good days. Take us down the road. How you got to where you are right now? You started out at Dudley, then you went to University of South Carolina Upstate, then you went to High Point Christian Academy, down back to Dudley. Take us down the road how you got to all these places.
Well, when I was playing at Dudley my senior year, Coach Steve Smith, he's an assistant coach at USC Upstate. Now he's an assistant at Clemson University. He came down and saw me in the Little Four, had a pretty good tournament down at Little Four that year, my senior year, and I began talking with him, and they offered me a scholarship. I had some other schools I was looking at, including A&T. Decided I want to get away from home a little bit, try to grow up and have some responsibility. So that's why I chose USC Upstate.
And it was a good fit for you?
It was a great fit for me. Learned a lot from Coach Eddie Payne. That was the head coach.
Well, that's a great coach to have, man. That Coach Payne is a good one.
Yes, he used to coach at Greensboro College.
Sure did.
So,
he and Jeff Smith were good buddies back in the day.
Yes, sir. Yep. So,
how about Mezie Uzuchukwu? Where is he at these days?
He's actually still in Greensboro. I keep up with him a lot.
He was doing some helping coaching one time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was at back at his alma mater.
Yeah, what about Northeast for a while? Yeah, you and he were good buds. I know back in college.
Oh yeah, real good buds. We were roommates in college. Good friends growing up. And that was part of the reason also I went to Upstate, because they was recruiting him as well, and we decided to go down there kind of a package deal.
So you got done at Upstate, you come back this area. Did you go right to High Point Christian right out of college?
Yeah, went right to High Point Christian. Appreciate Coach Brandon Clifford gave me the opportunity because my brother was actually in school over there.
That's right, Quentin, right?
Yeah, Quentin Chavis. Yeah, he played football, and Coach Clifford saw me, asked if I would help him out, and he gave me the opportunity to do that, so I jumped on at High Point Christian.
How long were you at High Point Christian?
I was there for 2 years before Coach Seagraves came.
And you went to High Point Christian right out of out of college, right?
Right out of college.
It's been a fast track then for you.
Time flies by, though.
Busy track. What are you doing as far now? Are you working also teaching at Dudley, working there at Dudley otherwise?
I actually work for the post office.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Retirement specialist in HR.
Wow, not bad.
So I do that. Then as soon as I get off work, jet over to Dudley for practice every day.
What the post office work? What kind of hours do you put in there?
Usually from 7 to 3:30.
So it gives you time to get ready for practice.
Get ready for practice and get over to school on time. So.
Are you loving the basketball, being around that?
Oh, I love it. I love being around the kids. Try to show them some things that I learned when I grew up playing, and just help them along to achieve some of the dreams that I got to achieve.
Are you excited about that big Page game tomorrow night?
Oh, yeah, I always love when we get to play one of the schools from right down here in the city, either Smith, Page, or Greensboro. All the rivalries, been long-standing for a while, so it's going to be a big game tomorrow.
You run a lot of, like you say, you mentioned Uza Troop was still around town. You run a lot of people in these games you used to see from years ago. People remember you, I'm sure?
Oh, yeah, all the time at the games, even I'm at the mall, they'll come see, Josh Chavis. Yes, sir, yes, sir. So it's nice seeing those guys and try to give them, a little bragging rights if we get a win.
It's pretty good, like you say, 2 state championships and played in 3.
Yeah, played in 3. Yeah, lost our freshman.
Back-to-back, the 2 championships, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
the year before, you guys had lost that one, I guess?
Lost my freshman year, and then we won it my sophomore and junior.
I remember the one in Raleigh. I remember the one in Chapel Hill. The win in Raleigh was against that team down in Charlotte. And you guys probably should have blown them away, but it got tight at the end. Had to get some free throws in there.
Yep.
Had to win that game.
Yeah, Barry Farrell. I'll never forget.
Mr. Farrell had a big hand. Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Of all people, Barry Farrell was hitting those free throws. He coming up big.
And stepped up big and knocked both of them down for us.
Yeah, that's crazy. Barry Farrell, that's a great job bringing him back up. Because people talk about the old Dudley years. They don't bring up Barry Farrell much. That's amazing. That is great.
He was an important piece of that team.
Oh, he certainly was. It's because there were certain things that night that Graves could not get going, and maybe I'm trying to think if Belton was in that game or not.
That's when we had Swinton.
Swinton was in it. Wow,
Swinton was in it.
Hard to believe that Swinton would have been around. Seems like Swinton would have been back 100 years ago. Now. That was maybe his senior year then, right?
That was his senior year, and then Belton came on the next year.
Wow, interesting. I remember Belton, and I remember guys down at East Carolina. A lot of days down there, a lot of games down at Greenville, and at Minji's Coliseum.
Yep, the regionals semifinals and finals. Yep.
Good years. Yeah. Middle school. Where'd you play middle school ball at?
I went to Coronado Middle School.
Coronado Middle. Okay.
Middle School. Yep.
So if you would have been out there now, you would have probably at that time would have gone to Northwest out of high school.
Northwest or Western Guilford.
That's hit the Dudley Academy. But if you were out there now in the Northwest area, would you rethink it based on what Northwest is doing these? You heard about that new Northwest team?
They got a pretty good team. The coach out there is Coach Revis. He was at Glenn. I remember a lot of battles with him when he played at Dudley. So I don't know. Dudley just has such a rich tradition.
Let me ask you this, kind of off the record, so to speak. You've watched Northwest play, right?
Yes, I have.
Can you handle that little Spicer kid? That kid can move, man. That kid's
I might have to give him a little room and make him shoot a jump shot. He's pretty quick.
He is quick as a kid.
He's quick. Yes,
Northwest Guilford, people who watched them in the earlier days, they were good shooters back, but that is such a quick team now, such a different dynamic they got going on.
Oh, yeah, they know how to dribble, drive, and get in the paint, and like you said, a lot of quick
That
balls.
Reggie Davis, that kid's the center, plays like a guard, but he can slam it home.
I think that's part of their advantage. All their guys can play the guard, can dribble, and that's a big advantage that they use.
How about little Trey Turner? How about that kid, huh?
Oh, yeah, so he's grown up. I've known Trey since he was little. It's amazing to see where he's at now.
The road you took, do you recommend that road to the kids today?
I think so. Like I said, I got to go to the academy, get a head start on my education. My senior year in the academy, I got to get to do some college courses, which helps me a lot.
That got you started in college, got you kind of a head start when you got down to upstate.
Head start, I got to carry over some credits to give me a head start when I get.
Were you working hard academically when you were done? I know you worked hard in your basketball. Some of that basketball came natural to you, which, it's not like you were an overpowering player. You're just a smart player, handling the ball and things like that. But the academic stuff, were you working as hard as you were the basketball back then?
Oh, yeah, definitely in the academy because we took, honors and AP courses that we had to take. So I definitely had to work hard at
I don't know much about it. Does the academy still meet right in the center section of the school, or is it a separate building? How does it all work?
Well, actually, it kind of have a separate building. We have to take classes, and then you also have some classes with the regular students, more of electives.
Gotcha.
When you take your English and your math courses, it's pretty much just the academy in itself.
And some higher level teachers in those courses too, I would think.
Yes, sir.
So some of those courses, you have to transfer those right into college.
Yeah, your senior year. Because we took classes at A&T your senior year.
So you're actually over there during the day some too?
Yeah, over there for a couple.
Kept you busy moving around then?
Oh, it was hard to do, but it also, taught me how to manage my time.
How about the old Coach Everett James? Ever learn anything from Coach James back in the day? He was a good one too. I love that guy.
Coach James, he was always hard on everybody. He didn't care who you were, if you were the best player, or maybe the last person off the bench. He treated everybody the same.
He was a Dudley man through and through.
Hall of Famer.
Yes, sir. What about Coach Price back in the day? What'd you learn from Coach Price? You may still use some of this stuff today?
Use some of this stuff, some things that I used for my JV team, a couple of drills, and just the way he talked and went about the game is always, you know, focused and business-like. That's what I love.
How about the recruiting process? What kind of advice could you give to guys like Hendon Hooker and Breon Seagraves and the Brewer kid was with us earlier? What kind of advice you give those guys about this recruiting process?
Make the decision for you, what fits best for you. A lot of people are going to try to talk to you, get you to come to their school, tell you you're the best, you know, they're only recruiting you. But honestly, you got to think about it's all about trust and who you can trust best with the coaches and with yourself.
When were you able to get your vision at a point where you could see the USC Upstate was right for you, as opposed to I'm going to keep my vision on NC State, my vision on Duke, my vision on Wake, my vision on Carolina, my vision on these bigger schools? When were you able to kind of bring that into focus? Because this is basketball in focus. Bring that into focus. This is where I need to be. Those other schools are great, but it's just not going to work for me there. When were you able to see that one?
Right. Well, it comes to a point I think everybody comes to self. You know, I was only maybe about 5'9", 160 pounds. You know, a lot of them big schools, you got point guards who are about 6'2", 6'3", way more athletic than I was. And I just had to come, you know, reality to myself, you know, which I can fit better for me.
Right.
And I think which I can excel at.
Were you able to, I mean, even when you were USC Upstate, you still face those big guards.
Right.
How did you combat that when you were in college? How did you fight that?
Definitely it had to be cerebral. You know, I had to be real smart on the basketball court, get to spots where I think I could beat my man off the dribble or, you know, use the screen to get my shot off. It's something that you learn through experience and also watching tape or older guys that came along before me.
Where'd you get your basketball smarts? I know you had a lot of good coaches, but where'd you get those smarts from? Was it inherited? Was it innate? And you were just a kid growing up, always playing ball? Where'd it come from?
Definitely from my dad. He's the one that put the ball in my hands since I was a little kid. That was the reason why I wore number 20 was because of my dad. And also my uncle, he played basketball as well. So those two men in my lives really helped me a lot when I played basketball.
If you had to do it over again, ask you this, ask the other kids this toward the end of the conversation, ask you this early. If you had to do it all over again, you do it the same exact way?
I think I would. I think I would.
Not make any changes much.
I enjoyed my time at Dudley. You can't argue with 2 state championships. When I went to Upstate, you know, it was a learning process. It was just becoming Division I.
That's a fairly new school moving to that top level.
Yes, sir. We got to travel all across the country, so I love doing that.
Play some of those big money games, but see some big schools, right?
Exactly. I think we played Notre Dame, NC State, a lot of teams from the ACC. So I actually got to play in the ACC, just wasn't part of the ACC.
Yeah, exactly. you got your ACC experience, just got it a different way.
Exactly.
Different process.
Exactly.
And didn't have to, and plus you got your ACC experience, and you got to play against those guys.
Right.
If you went to an ACC school, there's no guarantee you would have been playing against even the USC Upstates. You may have just been watching there.
Right. So I got experience from, you know, the high major, mid major, and low major. So
how about this kid Tyler Lewis? I think Tyler made the right move leaving out of NC State, and he took off out to Butler. I mean, he changed schools in midstream. I mean, you can't speak for him, but you see a lot of kids making moves like that. You think that's the right decision?
I think it probably made it fit his style a little bit more. Maybe he had a more dribble coming off picks and stuff, have the ball in his hands. I think a lot of times when I watch NC State, they try to use and get it to their wings' hands a lot. But I think as a point guard, maybe Butler, you know, it's a more systematic team, and, you know, they always have good coaching. So I think it'll fit Tyler Lewis pretty good.
Biggest basketball influence in your life, other than your coaches over the years, was it your dad?
Definitely my dad, and I try to, you know, pick up things from guys in the NBA like Jason Kidd. A lot of people said I played like him growing up. Even Ed Coda at Carolina.
Oh,
I try to emulate
Jason
him.
Kidd, to me, played like he had a chip on his shoulder all the way back in college.
Exactly.
Like he always had something to prove.
Exactly. Yep. And he always, you know, liked to find his teammates and use his teammates, which is something I like to do as well. So
you did a good job of that at Dudley, man, because you would find those teammates. They had you out front. It wasn't for looks. It was just to run the show, take care of business.
Yeah.
But man, that last year, I still remember, and you mentioned that little 4 Hayco, Timco Pizza Hut. Toward the last year or so, I was like, man, this is different, because you started taking those shots that last year.
Yeah, it's something me and Coach Price talked about going into my senior year. You know, I didn't have as many weapons, as much talent around me as I did the previous years. We still had talent, but I was a senior, and, you know, I was the leader of the team. He said, you know, you're going to have to shoot the ball a little bit more this year. So I listened to him, and it worked out fine for me.
Who's the coach you learned the most from all those years?
I have to say probably Coach Seagraves now.
Yeah,
he
was interesting.
Yeah, he was.
When he was your assistant coach.
Yeah, he worked with the guards, and he helped me out a lot. He was an all-state guard at Dudley High School when he played, so he showed me a lot of things when I played. And then from him, Coach Price, and then Coach Eddie Payne when I was at Upstate.
Well, you proved a smaller guy can do it because you got the job done.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
it. No doubt about that. 5'9", it's a shame you have to call that small, but that's just the way it is to stay in time and just keep on playing. What are you trying to tell these kids today? What are you trying to impart or teach them? I mean, it's all basketball, and there's other stuff too. What are you trying to teach these kids today?
Well, definitely with guys like Hendon and Breon, when you're a leader of a team, that you got to stay level the whole game. I think that's something I did and I picked up on. It's going to be plenty of emotions that go on through a game. It might be bad, it might be good, but you always have to stay level-headed. Because I always said the calmest person is going to come out in the end of the game. So if you're calm, you can handle all the pressure situations and they'll never get to you. That's what I try to say to my JV guys.
How's that JV team doing, by the way?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. Right now we're 8-2. We lost our first 2 games versus Durham Hillside and Southern Durham. Some Durham schools got us. But right now we've been on a little winning streak.
So you're trying to challenge the great work that was done several years before you by Coach Waddell. We always remember Waddell. We told you Waddell when he had those Dudley JV teams, he used to have some pretty good teams.
Yeah, he always has some pretty good teams, and definitely with the teams we had on varsity, we had guys who come up from JV and just keep it right on doing. So that's what I'm trying to do with our JV. So
trying to keep that pipeline going.
When they go to varsity, they'll be ready. They'll be ready for season.
You see the Dudley program staying stable on through the upcoming years? It's still growing.
I think we'll be back. Right now, we got a real young team, so if we stick together, I think it'll be back to where we was when I played. Just got to get more experience on our team, guys who've been in certain situations, high pressure situations. But I think we'll be on our way back.
If you didn't choose basketball as a sport coming up through this, where would you be at right now if you didn't go basketball? Where do you think you might be?
I think I always told my mom I wanted to be a dentist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a dental assistant when I was growing up.
So you were around it some, yeah?
I was always around it, and Dr. Charles Lane is who she worked for. He was a big Carolina fan, and so he let us go to a couple of Carolina games. I think that's why I became a dentist. I wanted to be a dentist.
Yeah, well, Hendon Hooker may pick up somewhere you left off. He said he wants to be an orthodontist one day.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay.
I can see that happening. And Seagrass said he wants to be a veterinarian, so that's some pretty good choices there. But Seagrass also said he wants to go to Kentucky, so you can tell he's already trying to get connected with John Calipari.
He talks about it a lot. Every time we see him on TV or something, he always talks about Calipari. So.
You're kind of close to those guys, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They came to a lot of games when I played, so I've known them since they were little kids, and it's amazing how they've grown up, and now that I'm coaching them, helping them guys, so very close with those.
How about 20 years down the road, where do you see yourself now?
Hopefully I'll be a head coach at a high major Division I university.
You want to go to college route?
I want to go to college route and coach. If Seagraves ever retires, and I'll take over Dudley's
there's
program.
a lot of people in line for that job, isn't it? Wow, man, people would love to have that Dudley job, but you really are leaning maybe toward coaching college one day.
Coaching college one day, that's my
It's kind of interesting with Jeff Smith. We talked about Jeff, who was a coach at one time, assistant over at Greensboro College, Coach Eddie Payne.
He was also at Upstate.
I thought he was too. He had Upstate with Coach Payne, but again, left the college ranks, came back to the high school. So you don't know.
Yeah, you never know where it goes to, but I definitely want to be.
How do you get to that college level next? How do you get that elevation? Now you're coaching high school, JV coach, assistant varsity coach. How do you get to that college level next?
Oh, just like a lot of other things in the world, it's basically on who you know.
Contacts.
And contacts I try to make when I was in college. My head coach,
But if you played your butt off in college like you did in high school, it probably also leaves a good impression. Better chance those contacts might get back in touch with you. They'll remember how you played, how hard you worked.
Yeah, definitely through head coaches throughout the conference.
How about your old teammates? Keep in contact with some of those guys, some of those names left in the old days?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I see Will whenever I get a chance to talk to him. He's overseas playing. Robert Johnson.
They call him Coach Rob, right?
Yeah, Coach Rob, because he helped out for a little bit. He was finishing up his master's degree at A&T.
Master's, okay.
So I talked to him, and Chavis Foster, I believe, Rashawn Polk, like you said. He's out on the West Coast now, so I get to keep up with those guys pretty often.
And if you and Graves were like in a one-on-one battle now, who would win that one-on-one battle? How would you beat Graves one-on-one?
Definitely have to be hot from the perimeter.
Get him outside.
Yeah.
Maybe get him thinking he's going to be too lazy to come out and pick you up.
Exactly.
He comes out and pick you up, and you got to go around him.
Yeah, try to use my quickness and create a little separation to get my jump shot off.
But you don't want him to hit you because Graves is big.
Right, exactly. I'll probably have to get the ball first as well.
I saw him a couple years ago. I don't think people even realize how big that guy is.
Oh, yeah,
he could have been a professional football player. I tell him that every time I see him, but he doesn't want to buy into it. But I think he could have been.
Well, he always loved basketball growing up. So.
He always loved that outside shot, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That left corner.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, on that left side, no doubt about it. He loved that outside. So did P.J. Harrison. P.J. Harrison liked that left side shot, too.
It must be something because it was close to the bench. that left side that they used to shoot from, you could hear Coach Price tell them to pull it. So.
Oh man, yeah, pull and shoot, take that shot. Boy, remember a lot of great days at Dudley for you.
Oh yeah, great memories. That's why one thing I went back, because every time I step in the gym, I remember good times that we had.
If the kids will listen, there's a lot to be learned, right?
Yes, sir. That's the thing, to get them to listen. But we got good kids at Dudley High School, so they do a pretty good job of when I try to tell them something.
We asked the guys earlier tonight too. The winning part, is the winning part fun or is it satisfying for you?
I think it's fun. Anytime you win, it has to be fun, and also it could be satisfying because you got so much pressure being at Dudley from alumni and fan base. They always want to see us do good.
That pressure is never going to die out either, because of the Dudley tradition just runs deep.
Yeah, I was telling our team last week, it doesn't matter what our record is. Everybody wants to beat Dudley, just because of the tradition of the guys who played before them. And I think we lost to Grimsley the other night in double overtime. It was a tough loss, and the kids rushed the court. But even though we had a not too good of a record, they still want to beat Dudley. Everybody wants to beat Dudley.
It's like beating Carolina, right?
Yeah, beating Carolina, beating Duke, one of even the big schools. And so.
Listen, Josh, good to talk to you.
Nice talking to you.
Keep up the good work. Best to your dad and your brother too. Just keep working hard. Everything's going to come your way.